first impression, I like the interface. It's very simple. It's a nice, simple, clean interface, which I appreciate because that's what I like with regards to plugins. Don't like loads of stuff on the screen. I like it to be nice and simple. So at the top here, we've got Oscillator 1. So you've got 3 oscillators by the looks of things. Yeah, and then we can generate some white noise as well. So we can do some various other bits and pieces there. So I've got this here. I'm happy with the pitch. So I'm going to leave the pitch where it is, but I'm going to start with the sub.
You're listening to the Inside the Mix podcast with your host, Mark Matthews.
I am using Vital Audio's Vital for the very first time. Never seen it before, never used it before, and I'm going to be creating a dance pop sort of 90s trancey synth bass. So I'm going to go from this to this. Hello folks and welcome to the Inside the Mix podcast. If you are a returning listener, a big welcome back, thank you. And if you are new to the podcast, welcome aboard. In this episode, I'm going to be trying out Vital Audio's Vital synthesizer. I've never used it before. I've never opened it before. So this episode is going to be me experiencing this plugin, this soft synth for the very first time. If you want to learn more about Vital Audio and Vital in particular, I'll put a link in the episode description. But in essence, I am using the basic free subscription model for Vital. So you get 75 presets and 25 wavetables. There's a plus subscription and then there is a pro as well. But I'm sticking with the basic free one as I'll have access to the full soft synth, but I don't need all the additional presets at this stage because I'm going to make a bass preset from scratch using Vital for the very first time. The reason I'm doing this is because in conversation with other producers, other artists, I've heard great things about Vital, and in particular because there is a free subscription version of it. So let's dive into this Logic project and give it a go. So here we are in my project. It's 130 BPM. It's kind of like a dance pop housey sort of tune that I've put together here. It was actually inspired by Just Keep Watching. So I started like a remix. I thought I'd give it a go. And basically, this is what it sounds like. So it's going to be using, I haven't opened it yet. I've just loaded Vital, but I haven't opened it yet. So it's just going to be using the initialized preset of Vital. So this is what it sounds like at the moment. Got that classic sort of initialized preset sound. So let's dive into the plugin itself. Okay, let's open Vital. So on first impression, I like the interface. It's very simple. It's a nice, simple, clean interface, which I appreciate because that's what I like with regards to plugins. Don't like loads of stuff on the screen. I like it to be nice and simple. So at the top here, we've got Oscillator 1. So you've got 3 oscillators by the looks of things. Yeah, and then we can generate some white noise as well. So we can do some various other bits and pieces there. So I've got this here. I'm happy with the pitch. So I'm going to leave the pitch where it is, but I'm going to start with the sub, sort of the sub frequencies of this, creating like a sub E bass, I guess. So I'm assuming I click here. Yeah. It's got a search bar. So let's put in, I want a sine wave for this. So I've got Vital Sine. So let's load that and let's see how that sounds. Sounds all right, to be fair. I'm going to solo it though, just so we can sculpt this sound a bit more. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to move the attack up a touch. I want to get rid of that sort of clicking sound in the envelope. So it's envelope 1. Cool. Let's drag. I don't want to play with the decay at this stage. Let's drag the decay back. Oh, let's go up a bit. Okay, let's play that in context. Okay, now I'm going to mute that. And again. Oh, I think that sounds right. So that's my sub oscillator complete. So let's bring in another oscillator. So I'm assuming, yeah, I'm going to click there. That enables it. So there's like a circle. You just click on that to enable the oscillator. So I've got oscillator 2 here. And I'm probably going to have to bring the level down of that sub a bit, I think. I'll leave it where it is for the time being. It's got a filter there as well. So maybe in a bit we'll have a look at the filters. Ah, yeah, there's filter 1. So what I could do with that filter, I could use that maybe to eliminate any higher frequencies. Fine, let's give that a go. I'm going on a bit of a detour here. I'm going to send this to oscillator 2. And it's got a bit of a resonance peak there. How'd you get rid of that? 24. Maybe it's the slope. I'll leave that where it is. But let's drag that back a bit. The cutoff's done in semitones. I thought that might be in frequencies. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play it and see what that sounds like. This might not work. Is that sending to oscillator 2? It is, yeah. I'm just going to solo this. I've never used this before, so I'm assuming that means I've enabled filter 2. So in oscillator 1, there is the option to change the send, I guess you call it. So let's give that a go. And there is. Oh, I thought that might. No, there's like a bar above the filter itself, and you can move that around and it will change it from like a low pass to a high pass. But what I want to do is you've got all these different filter options as well. I want to get rid of that resonance peak, but I'm not entirely sure how you do it. And I can see in the filter as well how you map it. There's like oscillator 1, oscillator 2, so you enable these. So I'm going to turn off it. I don't want the shit for oscillator 2, so I'm going to turn that off. That's how you do it. So let's play that again. All right. Sorry, folks. I need to disable oscillator 2. What I'm doing there is I'm playing with the filter. So I'm just going to drag it down just so it's the bass frequencies. I don't want any sort of like low, mid, above. We'll go with that for now. Again, I'm just creating this preset, right? So this, when it comes to actually mix down, I'll go in and tweak all these settings. But I just want something to work with whilst I flesh out the rest of this project. But that sounds right, actually. Sorry, I went on a bit of a detour there with the filter because I just saw it. And I was like, I wonder how that works. So let's bring in oscillator 2. Okay, so oscillator 2. I am going to pitch this up. Now I've got transpose. It says pitch. I'm assuming that's in semitones, and that's tune. I'm going to leave tune as it is, so I'm going up 1. So let's play that. I tell a lie. I thought it might go up an octave, but it doesn't, so I need to go up to 12. It's going up an octave. Okay, and let's change the... I might try square wave. Ooh, don't have any square waves. Maybe we'll have to find something then. Pink noise, white noise. Let's go factory. What have we got in factory? Let's go basic. Quad saw, 3 graces, classic blend, brown noise, classic fade, harmonic series. Don't know what any of these sound like. It's basic shapes. I think that's just a sine wave again. It looks like you can click on... Oh, wow. In the actual oscillator itself, when you see the waveform, there's like a pencil. So you can go in, by the looks of things, and really modify the waveform, which I'm not going to do in this tutorial because I've never done it before. So I'll probably get quite lost. So let's find a sound that we're going to use. Maybe complex. Job hard, complex. What have we got? Let's click some of these. Not digging any of those. Let's try some in the physical. Let's try some more. I think I've tried these already. I've got brown noise. That's classic blend. So that is going to envelope 1. So how do I change that? Then if we go to envelope 2, what I want to do is change that oscillator. There's a little, there's like a, next to the waveform, you can move that up and down and it will change the position of the waveform. But what I want to do is change the envelope that's being used for oscillator 2. Now, how do I do that? Because you've got envelope 2. But how do I change it to oscillator 2? Sorry, how do I change it from oscillator 2 to envelope 2? In the interest of time, I think we're going to have to move on. But what I think you can do is, if you click on the envelope, there's just underneath the name of it, there's like this crosshair, and then you can drag that, and then you can drag it onto any part that is highlighted in green in Vital, and then you can start to manipulate that parameter using the envelope. So, I mean, I could drag it onto the waveform for envelope 2, but I don't know if that's going to work. Let's give it a go. I mean, you can see how you can get really creative with it. It sounds quite cool, but it's not what I want. So I'm going to undo that. I don't really want to do that. I thought undo might do that. Let's redo that then. Double click on it. Yeah, that gets rid of it. So I'm just going to roll with it how it is for the time being and not use envelope 2. Just use envelope 1 and just have to sculpt it using what I have here. But what I am going to do is I'm going to send oscillator 2 to filter 1. I'm going to enable that. And I'm looking at this here, I think there's like a sliding bar on the right, and I think that controls the resonance. It does, of the filter. So I'm actually going to drag those down. I don't want resonance at the moment. Maybe later. But at the moment, I don't really want any resonance. I want this for oscillator 2. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to separate the sub from the sort of like low frequency oscillator 2. So let's give that a go. I'm just going to bring the level of the sub down. So I'm going to drag it all the way down to 0 and then just gradually bring it in. And let's play around with the envelope a bit. So all I've done there is I've just increased the decay a touch and the sustain. Let's try the release. Actually, no, I like it with a short release. Again, we can play around with that later, but let's play it in context. It's quite quiet. So where is the global output on this? I'm looking for the global sort of output. There should be like a volume somewhere in here. Folks watching this, I mean, if you can correct me on how to sync the oscillator to the relevant envelope, please do put it in the comments or send me a DM. Again, this is the first time I've ever used it. This must be at the top here. Yeah, at the top there's a meter. I always get it around the wrong way. A horizontal meter. Okay, it sounds all right at the moment. Sounds all right. Again, first time using it, so there's lots in here that I could use. Like there's an effects, there's a matrix, there's the advanced section. I could go in and sculpt. Like I said, I could click the pencil and have a look at the waveform. Just, I should have said this right at the beginning. I am not in any way, shape or form sponsored by Vital. This is not a video that has been sponsored by Vital. This is just me using it for the first time from recommendations. So just to throw that out there, folks. No affiliate link. I don't get anything from this. It's just me using it from the first time. I should have said that right at the beginning. So let's add a third oscillator. And this time we're going to go up another octave. And the other two oscillators, I've got unison at 1. It says 1V. I'm assuming that means 1. But for this one, I'm going to go up, transpose it 24. And I'm just going to play it. And then I'm going to increase the unison because this is going to be like the higher frequencies. This is what I could do with another filter in here. I haven't even touched the LFOs yet, but I'm probably not going to in this instance. Now it's super loud, so I need to drag that down. Got like a classic sort of 90s trance vibe to it. You can imagine that with a sidechain to the kick. So you're doing the sidechain into the kick. I'm trying to get the expression of what it is in my head, but I can't think. It's because I'm looking at the waveform here, thinking what I'm going to do next, and trying to talk about something else at the same time, which doesn't really work. So let's have a look at waveforms for this. We've got glorg, glunk. I don't know what that means. Let's try some of these waveforms out and see what they sound like. You'll notice as well, I'm doing this in context now because I'm getting towards the end of like the preset. I kind of want to hear what it's going to sound like in context, because in isolation, it could sound great or it might sound not great. But in context, what I thought was not great in isolation might sound great, if that makes sense. I love there's one here called Crappy Toilet. Let's have a look and see what that sounds like. Yeah, not great. I mean, I quite like that. I'm going to star it so I can use that at a later date, but I'm not using it for this. Actually, it sounds all right. Let's try a few more. That's hollow distorted FM. That's not too bad. That's called squish flange, and that's like a really classic, like trancey sort of sound. It's quite cool. I've got a couple more. Thank you, false noise. Let's try that. No. So I'm just going to go back to complex and see if there's any in here. Drink the juice. Low, high fold, modern, postmodern pulse. Again, that's quite cool, but I don't think it suits what I'm trying to do here. Saws for days. No. Stabbed? No. So I'm going to click on my favorites. This is why whenever I get a new plugin and I go through the sort of like the presets and also the waveforms, I always favorite them so I can come back to them later. It makes it so much easier. So I picked out these 4. It's quite cool. That's flange scroll. Now I like that because it's quite subtle. I thought postmodern pulse was a bit too much for this tune. Let's try hollow distorted FM. And squish flange. I think I'm going to go with that. I quite like that. What else can we do in here? We've got some effects. Effects. So I'm going to go to the effects channel now. Let's try some distortion. That might sound quite cool on that. There's a filter here. So I can add another filter in the effects. And I can use this for the higher frequency one. Cool. So let's bring down the resonance. Switch it around. I'm going to do this in isolation. It's doing it for them all, but I just want it for Oscillator 3. How can I not send all of them out? That might scupper me a touch. Another one that I'm going to have to go away. Basically, I think what I need to do, I really like this plugin. I think it's great. Overall feelings, I'm really liking this, and I can see myself using it. But I need to go and research how to manipulate the sends from oscillators to various difference, to the LFOs, to the envelopes, to the filters, to the effects. That's what I need to work on next. But, I mean, I'll leave it there for now. And just play it again. I'm going to boost the output on it. In fact, I'm just going to bring down the level of oscillator 3. Yeah, I mean, you could get away. You don't necessarily have to have that third oscillator in there and just have the bass. What you could do as well is you could duplicate this track and then have oscillator 1, oscillator 2 in one, and then just have another instance of Vital just with oscillator 3. If you wanted to do that, you could do that. Something I've done in the past where I have like 3 different bass tracks, one for the sub, one for the low, and then one for like the mid-range, and then I use filtering just to sculpt those. But I've done it all in one here. So I'm just going to turn oscillator 3 off. That's super quiet. I'll turn it back on. Just realised there would be no point in side-chaining it to the kick because they play different times. So it won't really work in this instance. But there you go, folks. Those are my first. This is the first time I've used Vital. Again, not sponsored by Vital, but I really like this. I think the layout's really nice. It seems, for the most part, intuitive. The only stumbling block I found so far is the routing. But playing around with it a bit more, maybe if I wasn't on camera whilst playing with it, I'll be able to find it quite quickly. So in the comments, if you know how to do that quickly, let me know, or send me to a video that does. But on first use, I think it's really cool. Definitely a plugin I'll be using going forward, considering it's free as well, which is amazing. Again, I'll put the link in the episode description. So yeah, do go check it out and let me know your thoughts. Just before you go, if you want weekly tips, tools, techniques sent directly to your inbox, click the link in the episode description and join my weekly newsletter. No fluff, no spam, no long automated email chains, just weekly tools, tips and techniques direct to your inbox to make your music playlist worthy and radio ready. So click that link in the episode description. And until next time, stay inspired, keep creating, and don't be afraid to experiment inside the mix.